Mic check. Ṣé ń gbọ́ mi nísìn? Ẹ̀yin tẹ́ wà lórí. Okay, we're good to go. So I'm at sorry Star Radio nísìn. I'm just testing a new system. The quality might not be very good, but we're just testing the system. So we're good to go. All right. So let's just manage that for now. Let's come back here. So mic check. We're going Star Radio now.
Welcome back to the program, ladies and gentlemen. The UK Ladies Show. American radio station. Let me bring the time now. 4 minutes past 11 the time. And as you know, yes, he is in the house. The one and only Mr. Lion before I do the white lion. Let's say massive good morning to you. Lovely.
I hope you can hear me back in the studio.
No, you may not sound. I can't hear you. Yeah. Okay, just bear with it as we try to get the sound up.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, loud and clear. How are you, sir?
A very good morning to you. I'm doing very well, and I hope you're doing very well as well, Mr.
Oh,
Archie.
yes,
Good
my
morning
name
to you.
is
Yeah.
much better now. Nigeria didn't happen to us. We are back.
Okay.
We are
Very,
back
very
in.
good.
But let's first of all move on straight to the events last week and over the weekend because I could see you on the platform several times with various things that were going on. Let's capture that and bring more light to our listeners or followers who were not.
Okay. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, I
Yeah.
can hear you now.
Well, very good morning to you. The time check is now just about 5 minutes, like you say, and just for the benefit of those back in Nigeria that are watching us, you are 1 hour ahead of us because there was a time change in the UK. So that means we are 1 hour behind. So the time right now in Nigeria is exactly 5 minutes past 12 p.m., which is noon time. Good morning once again, Mr. Archie. Quite a lot happened over the weekend, as usual. There was quite different engagement. We do have a lot of event that was actually going on. Once again, this is Star Radio UK, the finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. Over the weekend, the
Yes, go on. We
yeah,
can hear you.
yeah, it looks like there's a bit of a network glitch from my end. Over the weekend is just the normal activities, but the most important aspect of it is is where we had, engagement about the movement, for those campaigning for the self-determination. And likewise, as the country is going into a very, very difficult time, there was what we called, the terrorist alert that was also happening in Abuja. So quite eventful over the weekend. On Friday evening, multiple people has been kidnapped. The former vice chancellor of Ibadan, the University of Ibadan, was also part of those that were kidnapped. We're talking about 4 different vehicles where the Fulani terrorists were able to invade, part of the Ibadan-Lagos Expressway. But we are back again with some of the headline as well. Atiku is currently in America. I will be talking about that as well. And likewise, some other activities. Also, the Lagos drivers have begun strike in Lagos State. So that means, the transport system have gone a very, very high end. And likewise, as more event is unfolding. If you're just joining us, this is Star Radio UK. It is the finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. And I will come back now to you in the studio, Mr. Archie.
Yes, listen, it's Mr. Live from North London Studios. I'm actually here in South Studios, and we're bringing you updates from Nigeria at 7 minutes past 11 here in the UK, or 12 to 7 minutes past 4 in Nigeria. Okay, so now let's crack on. Now, I share the broadcast with your friends and loved ones and invite them to like our page. Now, let's come to the security threat that seems to be going on. Now, what information, because we have the United States and we have the UK as well, saying that, well, there is a terror alert threat to the federal capital. We know that there is terror around the country, but this time the target against came out and said that, look, this is someone that is targeted to the federal capital. What more information do you have about that, sir?
It's been a lot happening, even though, the government is coming back to say that is not actually what the situation is. What we can say is, in the last week, the U.S. have actually, stopped a lot of the activities from their embassy, and that literally went flag, because the U.S. came with that information. But over the weekend as well, we saw, both the United States of America, and other countries now that are now moving their citizens out of Nigeria. 2 days ago, this is what comes up on the international news as well from the CNN. The United States of America orders families of embassy employees to depart Nigeria due to heightened risk of terrorism. We do know that some of the places that was put in a very high situation where the churches, the mosque, and likewise, the super mall. There was one mall that was completely shut down. Banks have gone into, closing at the very early hours. So almost the whole part of Abuja is now deserted as well. The State Department has ordered the non-emergency U.S. Embassy employees and the families members in Abuja, Nigeria, to leave the country due to the heightened risk of terrorist attack. The department also issued level 3, which is a travel advisory, for the entire country, urging reconsider travel to Nigeria due to crime, terrorism, civil unrest, kidnapping, and maritime crime. And like we say today, Lagos is also currently going on a full strike with the transport fare. So you can see that the situation is becoming alarming, as there's also countdown from the Biafra, in declaration, and likewise as the self-determination, the Yoruba will be coming out very soon for their super rally that will be announced anytime soon.
Well, listen, there's quite a lot happening when it comes to Nigeria on that front. But it is Star Radio UK. Share the broadcast with the friends and loved ones and invite them to like activities as well. Now let's come to, we were talking about the Biafran's declaration that's going to be taking place, and I was talking earlier on about the Southeast governments who are trying to see whether where there can be a political solution to the Nnamdi Kano's case. Now, what other information do you have pertaining to that as well?
I'll give you from what the reaction from the Biafra in what the Southeast governor have raised alarm over insecurity. We do know that Nnamdi Kanu is still being held, in the custody of the DSS, and that literally means that, he's not being allowed to go on either bail condition or to be released, even though, the court have discharged and acquitted him. But what we can say is the Southeast governor actually came out yesterday in what we call the Southeast governor raised alarm over the insecurity in the region. The governors of the Southeast geopolitical zone have raised alarm over the spat of kidnappings, wanton killings in the zone, calling on the federal government to come to their aid in providing security in the area. Bearing in mind that elections is very, very close in the corner. The meeting was attended by the Enugu State Governor, Abia State Governor, Ebonyi State Governor, and likewise, Anambra and Imo, and they were also representative as well. They were also calling on the, in the issue of the flood that have actually destroyed, most part of the Southeast, and also, towards the Lokoja area where, there's been huge amount of, humanitarian disaster, when it comes to the flood. They also talked about, the federal government to aid of the victims in terms of the rehabilitation of the internal displaced person. The reason why we have internal displaced person is because of the insecurity across the country, most especially in the northern part of the country as well. But the most important part as well was, the statement. It was the Southeast governor that formed the Eastern Security Network. Governor Umayu denied the allegation. Remember that Eastern Security Network, is something that has been, established, last year, but they have actually denied that they have nothing to do with that. But on the issue of the most important key actor of the Southeast, whether we like it or not, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is one person that cannot be rubbished. And after the government kidnapped and renditioned him back to Nigeria, the Southeast governor also is now asking that they believe that on the issue of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, there should be a political solution. Say that they are watching with keen interest the development with respect to Kanu's case vis the court ruling. I was actually listening to Simon Ekpa, one of the spokesmen for Biafra yesterday, and he actually said that the Southeast governor have actually never said anything from the October 13 when the ruling came on the issue of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. They've actually kept quiet. Even when he was kidnapped back to Nigeria, they kept quiet. So it seems now that the country is facing quite a lot of issue. I'm going to be talking about what Gumi says, that it seems now that the government is trying to destroy, just as the headline that you mentioned, before I came on air, regarding, the Naira that is going to be, changing in December. The CBN is planning to destroy about 6 trillion of that banknote. But Gumi is also now saying that they might be given the opportunity for the terrorists to now be asking for dollar rather than the Naira. KOKORO court case has been updated. I'll be giving more on that as well. This is Starr Radio UK. It is the finest African and Caribbean radio station in London at exactly 15 minutes past. And I come back to you in the studio, Mr. Archie.
Yes, listeners, Mr. Landy Contain and off market studios are matching here in the South Studios in the updates for. We will continue to share the program at once on the social media platforms. And as we say, anyone who listen to us on our own apps, Starr Radio, they have go to the App Store. Just type in Starr Radio Group and for various facilities. Thank you very much. Now let's move on to Mado's case, and then we can come to the CBN issue. What has been the latest update on it?
Well, this is the former Deputy Senate President that has now been stuck here in UK for, a case that's got to do with organ trafficking, and his case now has been adjourned. And the reason for that, I'll be telling you, the Central Criminal Court, popularly known as the Old Bailey here in UK, has, now reported that the plea and the trial hearing of the former Deputy Senate President Ike Ekirimadu and his wife Beatrice Ekirimadu over organ trafficking that was scheduled for Monday today will not hold. Let us recall that, Ike Kirimado and his wife, around July 23rd, were, were being charged, with Dr. Obina and Obeta on allegation of wanting to make payment for procurement of an organ to their daughter Sonia from one David Inawa Mini. But the allegation led to the detention of Ike Kirimado here in UK, and he has been in the UK prison since June 23rd when he was actually arrested. And the reason why that court case is not holding today is nothing more than the fact that they've not been able to get a legal for Sonia, whose case was also established. The court officially didn't categorically say whether Ike Kirimado's Siki graduate daughter Sonia is now a defendant in the case for which his parents were both arrested. But the Old Bailey officials said they won't have to wait for long, as the case will be relisted for some time during the week.
We hope to see, we'll be following it very, very closely. This is Starr. Now let's come to the CBN, who is planning to or embarking on a distraction of 6 trillion naira notes. Gumi, Gumi was saying a moment ago. That means that all the monies that the kidnappers, the various kidnappers are taking, or the terrorists are taking, that means that is going to be run, because they cannot take that money from your bank to say that, okay, we are banking it so that we can have the new notes, the fresh notes, and therefore, is it a security weapon that government is trying to use? And as Gumi has said, that means that now they're not going to tell you to keep them naira any longer. You need to get yourself some dollars whilst you are traveling.
Well, let's look at the situation. More Nigerians become a victim to the Fulani terrorist that is currently going on, and one of that was the one that happened over the the weekend. There was 2 different areas where the terrorists have actually kidnapped, and that literally means that there is now where the CBN is saying that they have quite a lot of money outside the country, and it is not literally, outside the banking sector. And that, what that means in a layman is there is more naira that is moving around, but it's not coming back into the circulation of the CBN that controls the forex, the naira. And the CBN is now on approval from the federal government, President Muhammadu Buhari, even though the Minister for Finance came out to deny that, but that has now been denounced as well. What do we know? The Central Bank of Nigeria is expected to have destroyed over 6 trillion naira worth of mutilated and old banknotes, where the regime of President Major General Muhammadu Buhari expired in May next year. Already, data obtained from the annual report of the Currency Operation Department of the CBN between 2006 and 2020 show that the Apex Bank have destroyed mutilated banknotes worth 4.1 trillion during the 5-year period. Also, why is it that somebody like Shegumi is coming out to say that trying to take away that, trying to change the naira might give room for the terrorists to now start demanding dollar exchange rather than the naira as it has been done? But I can confirm that yes, yesterday and likewise on Friday, the former vice chancellor was kidnapped, and likewise numbers of people were kidnapped. I believe 2 people were released yesterday, again after paying a whooping ransom of 2 million naira. These are the kind of cash that we're talking about, because it's going to come in different variation as well. But Shegumi did say, and also banned the terrorists also kidnapped the ex-University of Ibadan deputy vice chancellor and some student as well. But what do we know that Shegumi is actually saying regarding that? The decision of the Central Bank of Nigeria to redesign some dominations of the naira note has generated mixed reaction. The Kaduna-based Islamic cleric Ahmed Gumi has faulted the decision by the CBN to redesign some of the naira notes, saying it will make kidnappers ask for dollars and other foreign currency as ransom. Starr Radio UK, it is your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. I come back again to you in the studio.
Well, if it happens that the fact that they are going to change this currency is going to cause terrorists to say that now we capture you, you have to pay as in dollars, that need to stop the change of money, because they are saying that the money is mutilated, therefore it's not good. I mean, lots of it, and therefore they need to print new ones in. Somebody will say, then good, that is good for them. But if it's the government is doing that in this time or at this time where people are struggling, and to print money is not easy. I mean, it costs money to print money. You get it? So what is it? What is are they trying to achieve there?
Well, the reason why the CBN is trying to do that is because, again, of the kidnapping across the country. They believe that there's quite a lot of Naira notes, in circulation that is not coming back. And most of these Naira notes is either from the corruption, the politicians, but most also the kidnappers. And by redesigning that, it will force them to bring back those Naira notes into the banking sector, and they might probably use that to, to pick up one or two people, depending on the kind of money that they're bringing back into the banking, sector. So that's one of the reasons that the CBN has given, when it comes to that. The move will bring the total amount of Naira, let's go back. According to Governor of CBN, Godwin Emefiele, last week Wednesday, that the bank will release the redesigned Naira note by the 15th of December, which is about 2 months from now. Emefiele made this announcement during the special briefing in Abuja. According to the CBN governor, the move is aimed, just like you did ask, controlling currency in circulation as well as curbing counterfeit currency and ransom payment for the kidnappers and terrorists. Star Radio UK.
Yeah, we hope that helps. I mean, helps if you can get back, like Gumi is saying. For sure, yeah, you knowing that taking Naira is going to be useless, we tell you to pay in dollars or pounds. And what do we do then? Okay, Miss Gold. Yes, good morning. It's a good day, Mr. Archie and White Lion. And yeah, thank you very much. I'm happy to be back. Since Banasarin says, good morning, brother Koiki, the ambassador. Good morning, Mr. Archie as well. And then Ruth says, Yoruba nation. Now, going back, keep your comments coming through. I promise you, watch it for sure. You'll read that. Okay, updates from Nigeria with Mr. Olaimi Koiki and our plan is I'm actually here in the South Studios, and we move on to some of the other stories making the rounds. Adeton last Sunday, good morning to you as well. All right then. Now, Yomi, yes, fare hikes as empty roads as Lagos drivers begin a strike. Now, so I know that, but definitely you would have had images coming from Lagos this morning. How bad? How is it? Is it very quiet? Very, very quiet at all? There are a few vehicles moving around. What exactly is happening there?
Well, there are a few, vehicle movements, but, you've got to remember that a lot of Nigerians rely on, the public, transport that is not available. So that means the private ones, has to be used for moving around. I'm just looking at, some of the news like you did talked about and the videos. Commuters are stranded as the Lagos State begins 7 days. We're not talking about 1 day, so they're going to be going all the way from today to Sunday. Some of the commuters were stranded in Lagos on Monday as the commercial bus drivers under the aegis of the Joint Driver Welfare Association of Nigeria have now commenced a 7-day boycott of the Lagos road. There will be, we're going to give you some of the images in just about a few minutes as the IT are bringing that up very soon. I mean, Lagos with a population of about almost 20 million, it's going to be a lot of problem for those in the public sector and in the private sector and individuals that are going to be moving around. Also, businesses will also have to crumble if there's no intervention from the Lagos state government as quickly as possible. And like that, you can see the empty roads apart from private vehicles that are moving around. But like I said, it is just the first day, and it seems that it's already paralyzing most part of Lagos state.
What has been the government's response to that? What have they said to actually assure drivers to maybe go back to the work?
Well, the first question is, why do we need to have, a system where, the government have actually handed over the transportation system to individuals? I mean, I don't think that is something that is, reasonable and fair, to an average citizen in Lagos State and those that are doing businesses as well in Lagos State. I mean, imagine for those that are watching us from outside Nigeria, imagine giving the transportation system of London, to myself or to you to control, and then I have to then give percentage back to Sadiq Khan or the, whoever is in charge. That is exactly what is happening in Lagos State, and that is why today, those that are now being affected are the drivers, the bus conductors that are operating, some of these vehicles. Let's give an example. Increase in the cost of transport fare in part of Lagos State has been observed today. Drivers withdrew their services. Along Lagos-Badagry Expressway, a trip from the First Gate bus stop to Relay that used to cost 150 naira, the minibus drivers are now charging 250 naira. From Mile 2 to K2, that would have normally cost about 400 naira, is now going to about 600 naira. But the question you ask is, the drivers that are, boycotting this for 7 days, says that they have been extorted by members of the Lagos State Parks and Garage Management Committee that the government in Lagos State have actually handed over, the transportation system to. And that is why, they believe that, there is no fair system that is happening. We're going to be giving you another image, from another angle. But for now, those in Lagos State and those in the surroundings will be feeling the pinch of that, because Lagos State is the city of center where everything moves out from there to the other part. And as you can see, skeleton movement in Lagos State this morning.
Tell me, I know that Lagos State has got its own transport system. Yeah, one that that lady died on. Yeah, now is that one running?
Well, it's running, but it's not as you can say in almost 3% of the situation in Lagos State. What they have is they have a particular route that they will run to, so they're not running almost in every part of Lagos State. So let's give an example. If you're traveling from Ikorodu back to Lagos, Island, somewhere around TBS, they have this one that move from there. But because of the bad roads, they've not been able to move around. Having a system like we have here, we have the double-decker buses, and we have the short route as well that pie through, inner roads across here in UK. But rather, what they've done in Lagos is they've done the long route where, the one that Bamishe was, and there's a court case going on in Lagos on behalf of her this morning as well, died, after she was, sexually molested and eventually killed in February. So what we can say is, because of the inner roads that are not working in Lagos State, they've not been able to produce, some of the services. So that means individuals, and that takes me back to where I was on a program over the weekend, and somebody called in that almost everything now is on loan in Nigeria. Your solar panel is on loan from the Chinese. Keke Napel is 1.8 million, and you have to keep paying back monthly. Okada is about 600,000. You have to keep paying. These individuals that have, taken the monopoly of it have now used that against an average citizen that wants to, have an Okada to use for transportation system. If the Lagos State since 1999 have been able to invest fixing all the major roads, they will have put out their own mechanism. The former governor wanted to do something of such. I'm talking about Akinwumi Ambode, but he was not given the opportunity, and he was not allowed for a second term because he was having a loghead with the current candidate of the APC, Tinubu. And I'm reading some of the comments right now. Bishop Adesina say people are trekking, as you can tell. I don't know how long people have to trek for 7 days, but we'll keep giving the update here on the transportation system each time we come in between now and Friday. And we hope there will be some kind of intervention from the Lagos State government, because if Lagos paralyzed, the whole of Nigeria paralyzed.
Mr. Koiki, and he says, good morning to you all. Act of God. So well done, my brothers. It goes on right to say, Yoruba nation now and no going back. Yoruba, Oko, Adolawo, Achibi said, good morning, Mr. Koiki. Thank you for the information you're giving to us. Yoruba nation now, no going back. And we have Oluwafemi Rufus. He says, good job, Mr. Koiki. Yoruba nation won. We will no going back. All right then. Listeners, Mr. Olami Koiki, 11:30 the time, the Star Radio UK morning show updates from Nigeria. Now, moving on straight to some other stories that is making the rounds in Nigeria. Let me hand over to you, Domi.
Thank you so much, Mr. Archie. Kanu political solution still possible, says Southeast Governor. That is coming, from the headline. Wike knocks Ayu, says the party chairman is ungrateful. Adebanjo insists on Obi as Fashionati backs Tinubu. We saw, Tinubu running to, the former, leader of the Afenifere that have now actually endorsed him in Akure. But the question is, the Afenifere, the other fraction, it looks like there's always fraction, is now saying that they're not backing Tinubu. The leader of the Pan-Yoruba social political group, Afenifere, Paruben Fashionati, and several Southwest leaders on Sunday endorsed the presidential candidate of the All Progressive Congress, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu. Tinubu received the endorsement during a meeting he had with the leaders of the organization at Fashionati's residence in Akure, Ondo State capital. I'm sure he never drove down there. He actually went with a helicopter because the road is as bad as anything that you can think of. I think you want me to come back to the studio.
Yeah. Let me say good morning to Kehinde Durajay. You say you speaking in French now. Bonjour, monsieur. All right. Now, when you talk about the Afenifere and the Yoruba nation, for those of us who are outside Nigeria, who don't actually, because we know that Afenifere was not from the Yoruba, so actually, it's part of the Yoruba people saying that, look, we believe in Tinubu, and we think that Tinubu may be giving opportunity and help in solving the marginalization and everything that is going on in that part of the country. Do you think, can you give us a bit of education on who the Afenifere are, and then do you think that their support for Tinubu, which now we come to understand that some factions are supporting and other factions are not, how is it going to pan out for the Yoruba people?
Well, Afenifere, was formed as a social cultural organization for the Yoruba people of Nigeria, but there's been a lot of leaders and changes, since it was formed. It was actually under the, after the death of the late Chief M.K. Abiola, and the whole saga of the, the election that was announced by, the former dictator Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida, that led to the forming of the AD, the Alliance for Democracy political party, was formed. It took the Afenifere agenda as its official manifesto. So what actually happened is, the Afenifere has been a particular, social political group, since the, the time of, the former late Chief Obafemi Awolowo. But as you can tell, it's a Yoruba kind of a, movement, political, social, cultural group that have their own issues, but they were also working among, all the Yoruba groups across the country. But there were changes, when Tinubu came back from UK after, he left as well for his life after Abacha, took power, and then there was a lot of killings, Tinubu was those that ran away to UK for, political refugee. He was actually returning back, when there was a bit of normality in 1999, to run under, the AD. And, he was actually put in front, by the Afenifere in the hope that it will have the same agenda because, Tinubu never believed in Nigeria, as at some point as well. But as things was changing, just to get the message for those that are now thinking, why is Afenifere endorsing Tinubu? And there's another fraction. The former leader is the one that Tinubu went to visit, not the current one, because the current one is actually not endorsing Tinubu. So that definitely Tinubu still have to use, the name of the Afenifere, in a disguise. That's why he had to travel to Akure. Remember that it was the same Tinubu that said he couldn't see any, Fulani terrorists that actually killed the daughter of the same man that he actually visited, on Sunday, which was yesterday. When Tinubu visited the Fashionati in Akure some few years ago, after the daughter was killed by Fulani terrorists, he was actually asking the journalist, he cannot see any, any Fulani terrorists, but he believed that that was a crime that was committed by anybody as well. But the Ayo Adebanjo had earlier declared their support, for Peter Obi, even though a lot of Yorubas disagree with that. But again, that is the view of the Afenifere. But Adebanjo, in a telephone correspondence, says he was not supposed to be at the meeting in Akure, adding that his support for Obi was already known. He said, in the first place, I was not supposed to be there. In the second place, we have made our position clear. Fashionati asked me if I was coming. And I said, if he asks me to come, but tell him what the position of Afenifere is. Once he has done that, I am not going into any controversy about that. So you can see that there is already, in anything, splinter group, and it seems that some splinter group have endorsed Tinubu. We saw him reciting the Yoruba anthem, and again, a lot of Yoruba believe that that is just a disguise, to woo some Yoruba to believe in the election of 2023.
So, let's say the 2023 election votes. Will the Oduduwa people, will you supporting Tinubu? Will you be voting at all?
Well, I mean, the Yoruba self-determination are not going to be voting, and they are going to be reclaiming back, their own territory. And that's exactly what, Professor Banji Akintoye said in that statement that we said yesterday, last week, when, he actually said Tinubu was selfish, even though the Tinubu camp have responded back, to say, Professor Banji Akintoye is unbefitting to use those words.
Interesting. Well, we'll see what happens. But again, when it comes to the Oduduwa, now have you been able to take a census of how many people are in the camp? How many people you control it? Because you say, well, they will not, take part in the election, as Professor Akintoye has said. Now, how many people? Because if it's not going to cause a big dent in the election, it will not have an impact.
Well, I think with the 5 million petition, that also guarantee that the 5 million Yorubas that are ready, to pull out of Nigeria. So that is a censor on its own. And if you look at countries around the world, Estonia is just 1.3 million. It came out of the Soviet Union in 1991, December 26. So I believe a lot of Yoruba are looking at the percentage that the government official is telling us that we have 32 million Yorubas. So when you remove 5 million out of that, that is more than enough, percentage, to disagree in the election that is going to be held in 2023.
This is Starr really looking. Bishop Adesina says, he said, I moved myself to investigate. I trekked from Egbeda to Ikeja in Lagos. Only private vehicles were moving, and public vehicles packed off. I interviewed them, and they said Lagos tax them excessive. That's explained that. So he goes on to say, how will a reasonable government hand over state transportation system to set up tax? It remains a question. Now, I of God saying Tinubu is wrong. But what do you think? If your comments have been I promise you one thing. I'm sure that we're going to be reading that. It is now 38, and let me go back to Yomi for the rest of the stories making the rounds of what is happening on social media. Over to you, Yomi.
Well, on the social media, this morning, our suffering in this world was created by us. That is what Ifa Funsho is actually saying, this morning on the social media. Quite a lot, happenings, especially with the kidnapping that happened over the weekend as well. I'm going to take one more as well. As a normal Monday morning, going out to find my daily bread, getting to the bus stop, I saw plenty people standing for bus stop. I am not even aware that commercial buses are going on strike today. So I was told that the strike is all about MC Oluomo's boy extortion. That is, the one that the government of Lagos State have actually handed over the transportation system into. Let's now look at what more is trending this morning. Remember to follow us on Twitter on Star Radio UK. Simon Ekpa, this is the direction we are going. Those criminals that will stand on our way will be crushed in 2023. Biafra will be the beginning of civilization in Africa. Again, Lagos State drivers on strike over extortion indict MC Oluomo as more people will have to suffer the consequence of that for the next couple of days. We hope that will be resolved. So let's just type Nigeria and see what is coming up at exactly 37 minutes past 11. Time far spent already. Again, this is the photograph from Twitter handle of Atiku. Are we supposed to celebrate that the fact that a lonely white lady from State Department in the U.S. agreed to see 16 black men from Nigeria, or what exactly? With a question mark. This is coming from Atado Peterside, because we have Atiku in U.S. With just one single woman there taking a picture, all smiling with 16 men. It seems there was also a delay in Atiku getting into the one of the meeting room that he was going to have. Probably maybe they were not expecting him. Who knows? Kowa, Peter Obi's plan to move Nigeria from monthly wages structure to an hourly wages structure. We might discuss that tomorrow. But for now, the Nigerian government pumping terrorists into Abuja. This is the very close to DSS, where there was an attack as well. Star Radio UK, that's how far we can go. I'm going to come back again to you in the studio, as we wind down this morning.
Yes, listeners, Mr. OLAMILEKAN is reviewing our episodes here. But, Yomi, so are people still, are businesses still going on in the federal capital? There's a big one from there before we run up due to the terrorists, or government has given confidence. I mean, if you think government, the statement that government has made and the meeting that Buhari had this morning, actually gone into the security apparatus in Nigeria has, given or put a bit of confidence in the security machine that's going on.
Yes, the IG, the Inspector General of Police, have actually. Okay, I'm just reading the security alert. Due to the ongoing security operations in Abuja and its environment, the Presidential Guard have been deployed along the airport road, FCT, Abuja, conducting a stop and search operation. So you can tell that this is a serious situation that is going on in Nigeria as we speak right now. I mean, if they have to now bring out the Presidential Guard, that means there is more problem ahead. And this was at exactly 9 o'clock this morning. So the situation is still very, very tense. The Inspector General of Police actually came out, to talk about, people should remain very calm. Also, the level of security again in Lagos State in Aguda. Joint security team comprising of the military, police, foil, and attempt by armed robbers operating around Kokaguda at about 6 o'clock this morning. The team had engaged the robbers in a gun duel which lasted for hours. These are, some of the happenings. So almost every part is becoming a little bit more problematic. But the IG is giving assurance, that things will be done.
Before we go, but if you are embarking on the journey to the capital, please make sure you protect yourself. It is important, but if not, then please be very, very careful. But we're not very sure what is happening. Of course, the Yoruba nation and the Biafra nation are already known worldwide. Okay, the Bishop Adesina says all the accredited voters from western region of Nigeria, comprising of Yoruba land since 1999 of democracy to 2019 election, is around 3 million plus. The Yoruba self-determination referendum has 5 million. Okay, so those are figures for you. And the Act of God says no going back on these two nations. Bishop Adesina continues and says Yoruba nation will not vote in 2023. Our self-determination 5 million petition gives us a go-away ticket. But with the federal government agree to it. Yomi, before you go.
Well, stay tuned with Archie and the rest of the team. I'll be back again same time tomorrow. But for now, have a very good morning, good afternoon for those of you that are watching us from around the world.
Have a wonderful afternoon, sir. Okay, listen, that was Mr. OLAMILEKAN giving you updates from Nigeria. It is Starr Radio UK. So, African Caribbean radio station in London. We're going to take a quick break. And once we come back, after the break.
Okay, Mabino, I'm running a system test, so that's why the audio was a bit low. I was listening to myself as well, but I have to go now, but we'll come back later. It's just a new system that we're running, on the OBS, so it's not the normal one, Taman low. So that's why the audio is a bit low. So I'm gonna get I don't know whether it's the mic, but I'll work on that. Yeah, it's a bit clear, but it's just there's a lot of screeching. But I'm actually a little anyway, so I gotta go now because I have a lot of things to do right now. Have a very good morning and good afternoon. We are 1 hour behind location 9. Yeah, volume is low. It's nothing to do with anybody. It's a new system I'm testing, so might sort it out. We probably get a better microphone. So because as a lot of work needs to be done, so we're putting more system out there so that I can run multiple OBS program without disturbing each other. Have a very good morning. I gotta go now. Bye for now.